See, religions do provide exquisite practices to get deeper into the spirit. The problem is that every practice is entrapping.
Welcome. I'm Angus, and I also go by Angus by design, and I'm so glad that we have found this moment to be together. We're beginning a journey through Polishing the Mirror by Ram Dass and Rameshwar. We aren't here as teachers or students, helpers, or those needing help. We are here as peers on a path, practicing the only dance there is. We are fellow explorers. Our goal is simple: to quiet the mind and open the heart so we can be in deeper service, Seva, to one another and the world. So, our grounding practice. So, take a moment to settle. If it feels right, close your eyes or let them rest gently on a single spot. Feel the weight of your body where you are sitting. This is our inner refuge. Bring your hand to your chest, to the spiritual heart. And as we breathe, imagine we are gently wiping the dust off a mirror. We aren't trying to change the mirror. We are just clearing the way so our true nature can shine through. And take one deep breath in and let it go. We're here. We are together. In chapter 1, we looked at moving from the ego story to the soul. Chapter 2, looking at what small way we could serve someone today without them knowing. Number 3, kind of how has our own lived experience become a tool for helping others? 4, aging and changing, and how can we walk each other home through times of change. 5 was around conscious living and dying. And how does facing our fears allow us to be more present for those in pain? And from suffering to grace, how can we serve without attachment to the outcome? Chapter 7, content to be, and finding the teacher within and everyone. And the notion of can we see the divine in the person we find most difficult to serve? And then chapter 8 is we're kind of, generally going to be looking at practical wisdom and the idea of integrating practice into a sacred life. And what is the reflection question is, what is one simple practice that keeps your mirror clean, so to speak? So welcome, everybody. So chapter 8 is practicing, practicing. Are there benefits in creating a daily spiritual practice on the level where we are pure souls, where we are simply loving awareness? It doesn't matter. There is just being here now, living fully in the moment. There is no practice, only being. If you have become stable in this presence, ignore this chapter. You are already here. On the other hand, if your mind still wanders, you may find some benefit in using these practices to bring you back to yourself, to be more present, to open your heart, to learn to live from your spiritual heart. Practices are designed to put you back in touch with your true nature, the self, to polish the mirror of your mind and heart so that they truly reflect the spirit. Most of us are enmeshed in the world and we get lost very easily in the stuff of life. A daily practice is very useful to keep reminding you, to keep pulling you back and waking you up again, giving you a chance to see how you got lost the day before, and to keep putting what's happening to you in the world back into a spiritual perspective. For instance, I read a little passage in the morning when I woke up, or I read a little passage in the morning when I wake up. I have books next to my bed, and I'll just pick one up and start the day reading a sloka, a passage from a holy book, or a little quote from a saint. And it'll just start me remembering, reminding me what the game is all about. You can tune into or you can tune to the spirit through a variety of practices. Look to each method to keep opening you in its own unique way. At the beginning, when you're trying different methods, be generous with yourself. There will be a method that will fit your unique karma. If you come to a practice with a pure heart and a yearning to be free, it will reflect back the purity of your aspiration. Spiritual practice isn't a way to achieve something or to get somewhere else. You're already here. You do spiritual practices because you do spiritual practices, not to get to some other state, but to get in touch with who you already are, to clear the dust from the mirror, to come more fully into the present moment. Whether you will be free and enlightened now or in 10,000 births is not the point. Where else is there, or what else is there to do? You can't stop doing them anyway. Once you awaken to the possibility of the universe within, it's like a gravitational force. Don't get trapped in your expectations. Spiritual practices can themselves become obstacles if you become too attached to them. Use these methods as consciously as you can, knowing that if they are truly working, eventually they will self-destruct, making a sacred space. Create a quiet corner in your home for practice, an Om home, a launching pad to the infinite, a meditation seat, a shrine to your inmost self. In India, Worship is called puja, and a puja table or a puja room is a sacred space for meditation, worship, prayer, reading holy books, reflection, centering, doing mantra, or chanting. It is a place for remembering yourself, getting in touch with your guru, or just a source of spiritual comfort. It can be a space for doing devotional rituals or for making offerings of love, a flower, incense, food, or just gratitude. Make this space simple and pure, perhaps with a mat, a candle, some incense, a picture of a realized being you feel connected to. Buddha or Christ, Ram or Krishna, or your guru. Create a seat where you can sit comfortably with your back straight. Zen Buddhists use a zafu and zabuton, meditation, cushion, and pad. Use whatever helps you sit comfortably, a bench or a chair if you need it. This is your sacred space. Make your puja table a beautiful offering that reflects what is spiritually meaningful for you. It can be in a corner of a room, in a closet, or if you have the space in a separate room. You may wish to cover the table with a cloth. A fresh flower as an offering to your beloved adds to the sweetness. Holy statues, photos of loved ones you wish to bless, prayers written for family or friends who are suffering or sick may help open your heart. If you are having problems with someone, try putting their picture on your puja table so that after meditating, you can bring them into the light. Keep holy books nearby, handy for daily use. If you already have an established puja table, know that you can never have too many sacred spaces. You can always deepen your spiritual practices. Let spirit permeate your life. Surround yourself with images of the divine, reminders of what is really important in life. Let them help quiet your mind, open your heart, and bring inner peace. You can create small altars or shrines at your desk or in your computer space, on a countertop, at the entryway of your home, on the door of the refrigerator. Create a sanctuary in the garden, at your doorstep, on the patio or deck, on the dashboard of your car. Spiritualize your life from the outside, but know the real work is within. Morning practice. So, as water wears away stone, so daily sadhana or spiritual practice will thin the veil of illusion. For starters, consider getting up a half hour earlier to allow time for your spiritual practices. Remove all your shoes when you approach your puja table. Invest this space with uh, spirit of love, reverence, devotion, and gratitude. Light some incense. Connect with the images of your puja and settle into being here now. Let go of everything other than being present in this space. If, as I mentioned, you can start your day in a conscious manner by reading a passage from a holy book. You can bring it to mind as an occasional reminder throughout the day. You might want to play some peaceful music or chanting, or do some singing or chanting yourself. the daily now. Keeping a journal helps you have a reflection of your thoughts and will give you a place to process and record teachings, feelings, or insights that occur on this journey. At times, I've kept a diary of how often during the day that I have lost it and got caught in the drama of it all and started to take the illusion of Maya as real. I'd just make a list and then look at the patterns of those lists over days. They showed me the nature of my desire systems. They showed me what it was that I made real. You might want to record your reflections on the words from Realized Being section at the end of this chapter and how they apply to your life. As you go through the day, notice how often you are truly present in the moment, when your heart is open, when it closes down. When you act in harmony with Dharma, a quality of equanimity comes into everything you do. Witness your life, your actions, observe your motivations for doing things, your desires. See what leads to anger, fear, greed, lust, love, pull back. Do your meditative practices. Watch the world go by from inside your spiritual heart. Lose it. Examine it. Quiet down again. Lose it again. Write in your journal. Watch what makes you lose it every time. Just watch it all. No judging. Really get to know yourself. Note what happens to your spiritual center in your relationships. Your needs and desires may be giving someone else power over you. Someone else's ability to take you out of your equanimity has to do with your attachments and the clinging of mind. That's your work on yourself. Meditation. Meditation is basic spiritual practice for quieting the mind and getting in touch with our deeper self, the spirit. Meditation provides a deeper appreciation of the interrelatedness of all things and the part each person plays. The simple rules of this game are honesty with yourself about where you are in your life, and learning and listening to how it is. Meditation is a way of listening more deeply so you hear how it is from a more profound place. Meditation enhances your insight, reveals your true nature, and brings you to inner peace. A meditation practice is extremely useful in clearing stuff away and letting you see how your mind keeps creating your universe. The ego will keep you occupied and with its endless storyline of thought forms. Just keep watching them until they dissolve. Most traditions require a regular practice in order to progress, to get ahead. On the other hand, there are traditions in which no regular practice is required and people do fine. So I can't say it is necessary, but I certainly find it useful and I encourage other people to do it. Regularly practicing meditation, even when you don't feel like it, will help you see how your thoughts impose limits and color your existence. Resistances to meditation are your mental prisons in miniature. It's delicate because you have to practice from a place of really remembering why you're doing it, with some joy and appreciation. If you go into it with, oh, I got to do my practice, the practice will eventually clean that resistance out of you. But I don't necessarily feel that's a good thing. That's what happens to people when they have to go to church every Sunday. I would rather push you away from spiritual practices until you're hungry for them. That or so until you're so hungry for them that you really want to do all you really want to do is practice, rather than give you a sense that you ought to do the practice, or that you're a bad person if you don't do it, because you will end up hating the whole business. In the long run, I don't think it will be good for you. Spiritual practice is wonderful if you want to do it, and if you don't. There are many different forms of meditation from a host of spiritual traditions. I will share with you some of the methods that have been the most effective for me over the years. They include Vipassana, or insight meditation, from the Southern Buddhist tradition, mantra from Hindu bhakti devotional practice, including how to practice mantra with a mala or a rosary, and Guru Kripa, grace of the Guru meditation. Remember the story of a Westerner arriving at the ashram in India and asking Maharaji how to meditate. Maharaji became quiet and closed his eyes. After a few moments, a tear trickled down his cheek, and he said, meditate the way Christ meditated. He lost himself in love. Christ lives in the hearts of all beings. He never died. He never died. Lose yourself in love. When you are with someone you love very much, you can talk and it is pleasant, but the reality is not in the conversation. It is simply in being together. Meditation is the highest form of prayer. In it, you are so close to God that you don't need to say a thing. It's just great to be together. Swami Chaitananda. Vipassana meditation. Vipassana, or insight meditation, is a fundamental Buddhist meditation drawn from Southern Buddhism. The focus or primary object of this meditation is the breath, and the beginning practice is just following the breath. Concentration on the breath is called anapana. Anapana. And it is just bringing you right here now through the breath. Everyone breathe. We all have our individual differences, but we are all breathing in and breathing out. Sit comfortably with your body as straight as is comfortable, your head, neck, and chest aligned. Take 2 or 3 intentional, slow, deep breaths and close your eyes. Focus on your breath going in and your breath coming out. 2 ways you can do this are by focusing on the muscle in the solar plexus, which every time you breathe in moves in one direction, and every time you breathe out moves in another direction. Rising, falling, rising, falling. By focusing on the inside of your nostrils at the tip of your nose, as the air goes by, you will feel a slight whisper of air on the breath, on the in-breath. And as the air goes out, you will feel a slight whisper of air on the out-breath. Use whichever of those 2 spots is easiest for you to do. Pick one focus, either the rising and falling of the muscle in your abdomen or the air going by the tip of your nose, and stay with it for a period of at least 15 minutes. You are like a gatekeeper at the gate. Cars go in and cars go out. You don't need to see where they go. You just notice the breath going in, breathing in, and the breath going out, breathing out. Your job is solely to focus your awareness on your primary object of the breath, that is, the breath in the gentlest way possible. Your awareness is going to wander. It is going to be grabbed by many stray thoughts. You'll sit down and you'll say, breathing in, breathing out, or rising, falling. And then the thought will come, this will never work. Now you can either take that thought, this will never work, and immediately go off on another train of thought. And even though you have instructions to follow, you can just ignore them, and then the meditation time is over. That's okay. Or at some point, when you get tired of that, you can say, gee, all I was going to do for these 15 minutes was watch my breath. This is just another thought. Maybe I'll just let it go. And I'll go back to watching my breath. See, that's a strategy for gently bringing your mind back to the breath, for coming back to your awareness. The art is not to get violent with your other thoughts. Don't try to push them away. Don't feel guilty because you are thinking them. They're just thoughts. Very gently again and again, simply bring your awareness back to the primary object of meditation. Breathing in, breathing out. Just keep coming back to the focus of your meditation, back to the breath, back to the awareness of the breath. Whether your breathing gets fast or slow doesn't matter. Just notice it. Don't try to change it, but just notice it. You are merely remaining aware, the gatekeeper watching the gate open and close. Any sound, smell, or sensations, just let them come and let them go. And bring your awareness back to either rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. Your mind wanders. Just notice that. Then very gently bring it back to breathing in and breathing out or rising and falling. Wherever your mind is now, just notice where it is and very gently bring it back to rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. If it helps to think to yourself, breathing in, breathing out with each breath, that is perfectly okay. If it helps to count breaths, try counting to 10. Counting each in and out breath cycle is 1, and then start over. If your mind wanders off in the middle, start over. Sometimes it can be really hard to get to 10, but don't judge yourself. Don't get frustrated. There's no success or failure, only your awareness of the breath. All the sounds, everything that comes into your ears, just notice them as more thoughts and come back to your breath. There is nothing you need to think about now other than breathing in and breathing out or rising and falling. Notice the shape and form as the breath goes by, the beginning, middle, and the end of the in-breath. the space in between, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the out breath. And again, that space. If you experience agitation or confusion or boredom or bliss or anything, just see it as another thought. Notice it and bring your awareness back to rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. If you begin to doze, take a few deep, intentional breaths, rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. All the feelings in your body, the sounds, the sensations, the tastes, the smells, the sights, just notice them coming and going and bring your awareness back to the primary object of meditation. Firm your seat, head straight, rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. If you are getting to the end of your sit, use these last minutes consciously. There is no beginning and no end. Every breath is the first and last. Gently but firmly, each time your mind wanders, bring it back to rising and falling or breathing in and breathing out. Be vigilant but gentle. Bring the awareness back to the basic primary object of meditation, the breath. If your mind becomes agitated in the course of the day, bring it back to the breath, rising and falling, breathing in and breathing out. Om. Meditation now in the Guru. Imagine a realized being standing before you, someone to whom you feel particularly attuned, such as Christ, Mary, Muhammad, Ram, Hanuman, Amendamaya, Ma, or your guru. This being is radiant, luminous, with eyes that are filled with compassion. You feel this being radiating the wisdom that comes from an intimate harmony with the universe. It is just so incredibly gentle and beautiful to start a dialogue of love with a being who is love. Sit in your meditation area and gaze at a picture of a being whose love is pure, whose love reflects the light of God. Experience that love flowing back and forth between you and the picture. Just open yourself and surrender. See yourself reflected in those compassionate, non-judging eyes and allow yourself to open more and more. This is your beloved. Sit before this being or imagine such a being sitting in your heart. Just be with that being and return the love. Despite of despite all of the impurities to which you cling, despite all your feelings of unworthiness, such as being loves, such a being loves you unconditionally. It's okay to carry on imaginary conversations with this being. The exchange opens you to compassion, tranquility, warmth, patience, to all the qualities of a free being. The interpersonal quality of devotional meditation allows you to start from your psychological need to love and to be loved and to bring it into the presence of wisdom, compassion, and peace. When you are with a being who embodies these qualities, they rub off and you feel more evolved, even to the point of recognizing the radiant light within yourself. Acknowledging your own beauty allows you to open even more to the beloved until finally the lover and beloved merge and you find what You find that what you had seen outwardly as perfection in your beloved is a mirror of your own inner beauty. Ultimately, you become that kind of love. You're living in that space and you don't need anybody to turn you on to love because you are it. And everybody who comes near you drinks of it. And as you become more and more the statement of love, you fall into love with everyone. Mantra. A mantra is a repeated prayer word, a holy name, or a sacred sound or sounds. It's like a tape loop going on inside that reminds me of who I am. It's like a niche in the wall that where the candle flame never flickers. It always brings me back into my heart, into the eternal present. A mantra can be a name or names of God in Sanskrit or English or Spanish or whatever language you know. It is usually recited silently in the mind, though at times you may want to say it out loud or subvocally, still keeping it internalized and without intruding on other people's psychic space. Sanskrit is interesting because it is based on seed syllables or uh, bij mantras that set up vibrational fields through sound. They work even when recited silently, reverberating within. Some mantras are more conceptual. All mantra works by repetition. Practiced consistently, mantra has the ability to steady the mind and transform consciousness. Mantra should be repeated frequently. It can be repeated anytime, any place, and when you're walking, taking a shower, washing the dishes, waiting in line for the movies. In Buddhism, the word mantra means mind protecting. A mantra protects the mind by preventing it from going in its usual mechanical habits, which often are not our optimal conscious perspective. Mantra is a powerful spiritual practice for centering and for letting go of strong emotions such as fear, anxiety, and anger. The more you practice mantra, the more it becomes a part of you. When you need it on the psychological level, for example, when you feel afraid using your witness, you notice the fear and replace the fear with your mantra. This will occur naturally once mantra becomes an established practice. Mantra is a daily reminder of the presence of the divine within ourselves and in the universe. But Mahatma Gandhi said, the mantra becomes one staff of life and carries one through every ordeal. It is no empty repetition, for each repetition has a new meaning, carrying it or carrying you nearer and nearer to God. Keep repeating your mantra consciously until it becomes a strong habit. Go for a walk and say the mantra all the time you are walking. Notice everything, but keep the mantra going. Keep realizing that being with God is your focus, and therefore everything you see is part of God. Maharaji said, the best form in which to worship God in all forms, or the best, Maharaji said, the best form in which to worship God is in all forms. Everyone you meet is Ram, every who has come to teach you something. Mantra is remembering that place in the heart. Ram, Ram, Ram. Say it, mouth it, think it, feel it in your heart. You are continually meeting the beloved and merging into perfection. The divine is present in the soul of all living beings and throughout the universe. God has been called by different names in different ages, countries, and religions. According to the Hindu view, an avatar is an incarnation of divine consciousness in human form. An avatar takes birth at a time when spiritual teaching is needed to establish new pathways for realization. Ram, Krishna, Buddha, and Jesus are all avatars in the Hindu view. Their names evoke divine power and are often used in mantra. Once you choose a mantra and establish a practice, it is a good idea not to change mantras too much. If you stick with the same mantra, the practice will become deeper. Following are some mantras. You can select one that feels right for you or find one from a tradition that feels comfortable to you. Use whatever name you associate with the divine. My guru, Neem Karoli Baba, used Ram, and he often could be seen mouthing Ram, 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 or Rama in the Ramayana. Is a being of great light, love, compassion, wisdom, and power, who lives in perfect harmony with the Dharma, the One. Ram is the essence of who you are when you realize your true self, the Atman. Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Beloved Ram, I honor you. If you use Ram when you meditate, say, think, feel Ram on the out breath. The out breath is the breath you will experience at the end of your life. Associate it with love, mercy, compassion, bliss, and letting go. Train yourself into this Ram mind. Another option is the Maha Mantra, great mantra, to both Krishna and Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna represents many aspects of human love: parental love, romantic love, and love between friends. His instructions to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita are a complete teaching on living as a spiritual practice. Om is a sacred sound mantra, one of the bij, the seed syllables mentioned earlier, sometimes called the sound of the universe. It's very primordial, think. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Om Nama Shivaya. I bow to Shiva. Other mantras from Buddhism are Om Mani Padma Hum. I bow to the jewel in the lotus of the heart. Om Tare Tutare Dur Swaha, to the mother in the form of Tara. A mantra from the Greek Christian tradition in the Philokalia. Lord Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Mantra can be practiced with a mala, a string of prayer beads. In the West, a mala is commonly called a rosary. A mala has 108 beads plus a larger guru bead. A wrist mala has 27, 36, or 54 beads plus a guru bead. All of these numbers, 108, 54, 36, and 27, are sacred numbers in numerology with digits that add up to 9. The mala is an external aid to doing mantra. You recite the mantra as you pass the beads through your fingers. The feeling of the beads moving through your fingers is a wonderful centering device. In the traditional way, I was taught to use a mala. Use your right hand, passing each bead between the thumb and the third finger, bead by bead, moving the beads towards you. With each bead, repeat the name of Ram or whatever your mantra is. Proceed to the guru bead. Pause and bring your guru or teacher to mind. Then turn the beads around and go the other way. Do not complete the circle. That helps you mark each cycle of 108. The Swami Ram Dass, a devout Indian saint of the last century, whose life revolved around listening to the will of Ram to guide his every activity, tells us, referring to mantra and kirtan, devotional chanting, people do not know what the name of God can do. Those who repeat it constantly alone know its power. It can purify our mind completely. The name can take us to the summit of spiritual experience. Silence. Practicing silence will manifest in calmness and clarity of mind, more energy, and your enhanced ability to hear others with deeper understanding. Silence is part of the ongoing exercise of developing the witness. Notice how your mind interprets the world around you. If possible, set aside some time in your day or a weekend day to be in silence. Explain to family and friends your intention to be silent so you will have their support in your efforts. But remember that it's just an exercise and don't make a big deal out of it. There is an external silence of not talking, and there is a deeper silence of quiet mind. Blessing food. So before I eat, I bless my food. For many people, saying grace in childhood was a time of impatience when adults were controlling the situation, but I've discovered that when it that it came or that it can become a moment to reawaken a living truth. When I get food, I hold the food up or sit with my hands touching my plate and I say a blessing. Sometimes in a restaurant, I just quietly go inward. I don't have to make a big production out of it or stop other people from eating. I just think about God for a moment. And I realize that this whole ritual of praying over food is part of all form. It's part of law. It's part of the universe. The bowl of oatmeal I'm praying over is part of God, as the farmer who grew it, the cook who prepared it, and I who am making this prayer, offering it up, we're all part of God. The hunger, the oatmeal will quiet those pangs in my stomach, the fire of desire that will consume this food. These are also part of God. I begin to sense the oneness of everything. I started to experience a place of quiet understanding. The more deeply I appreciate the oneness that is the source of the food, the hunger, my belly, the more I become one with it all. In India, I learned a prayer to remind me of this oneness, a way to offer food and to bring me home. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagna, Brahmanahatam, Brahmavi, Tena, Gon- Gontavyam, Brahmakarama, Samadhina. The act of offering is God, Brahman. The offering itself, the food, is God. She who offers is God, and the sacred fire which cooked the food and receives the offering is God. He or she attains to God, who in all actions is absorbed in God. Next time you are waiting for food to be served and are feeling impatient or hungry, use this time to think of God. When you receive the food, say a blessing and let it remind you that you and the food are one. Then eat. Rituals can become automatic or they can take you deeper. Over time, this ritual for me has become a living connection to the divine and my at one-ment with everything manifest in the universe. Kirtan. In India, Kirtan is chanting the names of God, a devotional practice that opens your heart and quiets your mind. Much of what was said above about mantra applies to kirtan, which may use the same names or phrases, but you can also do kirtan together with others with music. In glimpses of divine vision, an Indian saint, Swami Ram Das, says devotion to God, who is seated in the hearts of all of us, is the one path that leads the struggling soul to the haven of the perfect peace and joy. Devotion sweetens life. Devotion means loving remembrance of God. Blessed indeed is the heart which adores the Lord, and are the lips which utter his nectar like name. Krishna Das, one of the Maharaji's, Krishna Das, one of Maharaji's devotees, has been leading kirtan in the West for many years. He says, chanting is a way of getting in touch with yourself. It's an opening of the heart and letting go of the thoughts passing through the mind. It deepens the channel of grace. And it's a way of being present in the moment. Here is how he describes the practice. What we're singing is the repetition of the divine names, the Hindu names of God. Usually, when you call someone's name, you know who you're talking to. When we give something a name, like a baby's name, or if you get a truck and it's a Chevy, we know that name, we know that name defines the person or thing for us, and the name aims our attention at it. With Kirtan, it's a little different. They say these divine names come from a place within us, a place that's before thought, before emotion, before anything to do with concepts or conceptual thinking. And these names have been given to us or revealed to us by beings who, from their deeper experience, become aware of the names within themselves. Maharaji used to say over and over again, Ram Nam Karne Se Sabpura Ho Jata, or that from repeating the names of God, in this case, the name of Ram, everything is brought to completion. Everything will be fulfilled. Repeating these names ripens our karma. The things that are not helpful for us are removed, and the things that are helpful for us are brought into the flow of our life. Just through this practice, not through any action of our own. It's a ripening process. As we repeat these names over and over, the center of spiritual gravity deep inside us gets more solid, denser, and we're pulled to more deeply within ourselves. That gives us the ability, or rather creates the kind of conditions to release a little sooner all the stuff that catches us in our minds and our emotions. If you're thinking about something, whatever it is, say the weather, eventually that thoughts runs out of energy, right? It no longer holds you. Your attention goes to something else, and another thought takes you. Why should that process ever stop? Why should we ever come back to whatever place inside that we come back to? In fact, we are here in our true nature. That's where we live. Our thoughts and our fascination with the external world and all that sensual and mental stuff and everything, that's what pulls us out of our true nature. Through the repetition of these names, we learn to sit more deeply in our own hearts. We become aware sooner that our mind is wandering. Little by little, gradually but inevitably, you can enter more deeply into your own being, and you recognize yourself in a new way. Inevitably is an excellent word. Inevitably means you're on a train and the train is going one way, and you're at the front of the train running as fast as you can towards the back of the train in the opposite direction from where the train is headed. But it doesn't matter, because when the train gets to the station, you get there too. That's inevitably. That's my life. When you chant, you don't have to imagine anything, have any fantastic experiences, visualize anything, or make anything happen. You're simply asked to sing, and when you notice that you're not paying attention, come back. That's all you have to do. There are no expectations you have to meet, which also means there's no disappointment. Don't expect a flaming chariot to come down from the sky and carry you away whenever you chant. It ain't gonna happen. Just simply be here. When you notice you're not here, you already are. Then go back into the singing a little more intensely. Not trying harder, just giving it a little more attention. And then, as soon as you notice you've left again, come back. Gradually, the fascination with external things wears away. The thoughts and emotions don't capture um, us as fiercely as they did, and the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves gets less compelling. We begin to sit more deeply in ourselves and to find a loving presence within pilgrimage. So, as the temple in India, we used to joke that Maharaji's five-limbed yoga that we practiced consisted of eating, sleeping, drinking tea, gossiping, and walking about. It's true that we were just hanging out, but we were hanging out in Maharaji's presence at a temple in the Himalayas, in his vibratory space that was transforming us. We had traveled to the other side of the world to be there. Some of us not knowing why or where we were going, but searching for something within. We might not have called it that at the time, but that was a pilgrimage, perhaps a pilgrimage into our own hearts, but that is the best kind of way. Later, we experienced many other places in India that carry a spiritual charge. And we also found places in the West that have those qualities of deep peace and spiritual energy. If you're traveling or hanging out, you might consider making a pilgrimage to a holy site and using its spiritual energy as a way to intensify your own inner work. Retreat. A retreat takes you temporarily out of the profusion of sensory and mental input so that you can concentrate on your inner life. Maybe all you have to do is close the door to your room and shut off the phone and the computer. On the other hand, you might consider a retreat at one of the many centers in the West where your aspirations are reinforced by other seekers and where you can get pure food and some instruction in meditation or other practices. Listen inside for what type of retreat or center, whether it focuses on silent meditation or group chanting or some other form of practice. We will work best for you and where you are in your journey. Words from realized beings. Hanging out with realized beings or saints with their words or pictures is a way to inspire and find guidance for your own path. Realized being is like a pure mirror who shows you all of the places where there is dust on your own mirror. Such a being is a clear mirror because he or she doesn't have any attachments. So all you see are your own attachments, writ large. Find words from the great saints and sages of the world's religions that inspire your practice. Copy them into your journal, put them into your refrigerator or by your computer, and take them into your heart. The words of realized beings have guided me over the years, and they will help you navigate your inner journey as they have mine. A few examples. God, Guru, and Self are one. Ramana Maharshi. So the self is the heart, self-luminous. Illumination arises from the heart and reaches the brain, which is the seat of the mind. The world is seen with the mind, so you see the world by the reflected light of the self. Ramana Maharshi. The intense desire for God realization is itself the way it is. Sri Anand Anandamaya Ma. Love has to spring spontaneously from within. It is in no way amenable to any form of inner or outer force. Love and coercion can never go together. But while love cannot be forced on anyone, it can be awakened through love. Love is essentially self-communicative. Those who do not have it catch it from those who have it. Those who receive love from others can not be its recipients without receiving or without giving a response which in itself is the nature of love. True love is unconquerable and irresistible. It goes on gathering power and spreading itself until eventually it transforms everyone it touches. Humanity will attain a new mode of being and life through the free and unhampered interplay of pure love from heart to heart. Meher Baba. Why is it so difficult to find love or to find God? Because you're looking for something you never lost. Mir Baba. Knowledge of love and God are ultimately one and the same. There is no difference between pure knowledge and pure love. Sri Rama Krishna. A jar kept in water is full of water inside and outside. Similarly, the soul immersed in God sees the all-pervading spirit within and without. Sri Rama Krishna. And the saint is a mirror. Everybody can look into it. It is our face that is distorted, not the mirror. And that is Paltu Sahib. Listening to yourself. So, inner work can be subtle. As your mind quiets, you begin to listen to your own inner voice. Learn to trust your own intuitive wisdom about spiritual practice. You can't buy someone else's judgments about your path. You can't buy a book's judgment. You have to run it through your own intuitive judgment. Maybe you say, what I really need now is to develop a quiet, meditative space to quiet my mind more deeply. Or what I really need now is to open my heart. Or what I really need is a fierce teacher. Or what I really need is a lot of loving, gentle support. Or what I really need to do is clean out my psychological stuff a little more before I can go on um, spiritually. If you really keep studying yourself, you will begin to feel where you are blocked and where your next turn in the path is. Trust it. Learn how to trust your inner guide. I'm a big advocate of the spiritual path, of seeing spiritual work as a kind of spiral staircase. You may go very deeply into a practice, and if it starts not to work anymore, you pull back. Sometimes you do a practice for a while, then you go back into the world, or you try something else. When you come back to that practice on the next round, you see it from a whole new level. You see it from a different place in your consciousness. Who you are when you come back to it is different. So while a practice is a discipline, it's better to be gentle with yourself and not get too violent, pushing yourself too hard. If you feel like you are getting ahead of yourself or starting to burn out, stop for a while and try other forms. Some don't come to me and say, I think I ought to meditate. And I say, don't. Other people come and say, oh, thank God, I can meditate. It's just a matter of timing. In our minds, we often get ahead of our intuitive readiness in our lives or our being. We tend to overkill with our minds. We think our way into things. Our mind conceives the next level of consciousness before we're really there, or before we're ready to go there. The result is we're always a little ahead of ourselves in our thoughts. We don't slow down enough to be fully in our being. We're doing things as we think we ought to do them. We're constantly creating new models for ourselves before we're fully here with what is. If we can just slow down and be here now. If you are doing a practice and the practice is not working, You listen intuitively inside, and you either hear, if I reinvest in this practice and come at it from a new perspective, it could come alive in a new way. Or I'll do something else for a while and come back to it again later on. Um, you just have to trust however your intuition resonates in that moment. My guidance is usually to go slow. Don't figure you're going to get enlightened yesterday. Relax. Just start to tune yourself to the spirit within. Don't make assumptions about how your path will go. You may say, finally, I've found my path, the practice that is right for me. But don't assume that practice is what you'll do for the rest of your life, because the you who has found the practice or found that practice is, in the course of doing the practice, going to change into somebody else. A practice that has or that was appropriate for you initially may not be useful further down the line. Keep staying open and hearing these delicate shifts and balances as they go on inside you. There is value in deepening a practice. Swami Satchitananda once criticized me for being such an eclectic dilettante. He said, Ram Dass, you can't just go around digging wells, shadow wells everywhere. You have to dig a well, a deep well, so that you can get fresh water. That's a good metaphor. I stood up and or that's a good metaphor. I could come up with another metaphor that would be equally sweet for the other side of the argument. But when I watch people over time, I see that they start out being very eclectic, trying different practices, and they get drawn into one practice quite deeply. When they come out on the other end, like Ramakrishna, they can do all practices and they're all the same. It's like a funnel or an hourglass. It all goes in one way through a narrow opening, and at the end it spreads out. Go gently. Allow yourself to keep trying things on and going into eclecticism until you genuinely feel pulled into a deeper process. Gurdjieff, the Russian philosopher, said that while an alarm clock will wake you up at one moment, later on you may sleep right through it. You need to keep finding new alarm clocks to awaken yourself. He said, you can have something that awakens you out of the sleepwalking of your normal waking consciousness that works one moment, but not the next. Like if you're reading something, you're reading it one moment, and a moment later, you're busy planning your shopping list while you're reading it. And the next moment, you've gone completely to sleep. Maharaji once said to us, the mind can travel 1,000,000 miles in the blink of an eye. Buddha said that. Practices are just practices. Practice makes perfect. Once you're perfected, practice is done. You use a boat to cross a river, but once you're on the other side, it's of no further use. At the level of pure being, there's just nothing to do. But at the level of your ego, you want to do something. So do it. There's nothing to do. And yet you have to do it. You have to make the effort to practice, to do sadhana. But you also need to understand that the person who is making the effort never gets enlightened, anyways. Understand your ego who says, "Oh, I can awaken," is ego that is going to die or disappear or dissolve in the process. Who gets enlightened is not who you think you are, but who you are. Finally, if your trying has to be given up, or finally, even your trying has to be given up. Once I was sitting in the Tibetan teacher, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and he said he would do the specific meditation on expanding outward. So we started to expand outward, looking into each other's eyes. After a while, he said to me, "Ram Dass, are you trying?" I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "No, Ram Dass, don't try, just expand." Here is the seeming paradox that exists between making effort and allowing yourself to be, which are truly two different planes of consciousness. When you, as an ego, sense there is something beyond your limited perceptions, you make an effort to go from A to B. You want to follow a path or take a journey. So you make the effort. You meditate. You go to a retreat. At first, you may feel blocked and frustrated, or so you force yourself. You discipline yourself as the process works and you start to taste another level of awareness. You begin to see that those patterns of behavior and trying and frustration you experienced out of your desire for something else were all within the cause and effect structure of your karma unfolding in your mind and how your mind works. In a sense, it was predictable that you even seek to get enlightened or to get closer to God is a tendency, sanskara in Sanskrit, from your past actions that prepared you to now do spiritual practice. There is a poignancy in our predicament of being stuck with one foot in the world and one foot in the spirit. When you get too holy or too high, the world pulls you back down. You have to dance with that kind of tension all the time. You keep bringing your worldly nature and your spiritual self closer and closer into alignment. The good news is that awakening is built into the system. It just takes its own time. I've learned how to pump good people up to experience the moment of awakening. Sometimes it's just like having a tire with a big leak in it. You pump it all up, and then you turn and or you turn around a moment later, and greed, lust, and fear have all returned and it's flat again. You wonder what happened. Then, when with someone else, you just touch them and they open. Everything changes in their life and they never go back. I'm learning to listen more carefully to who people are and where they are in their spiritual evolution. I'm learning to really honor people and myself for who we are in the moment, to understand the appropriateness of a practice and that our karma and our awakening are unfolding perfectly. One of the greatest things that happened in my relationship with my father was when he was approaching death. I finally allowed him to be who he was instead of trying to make him or trying to make him into who I thought he should be. And he stopped trying to make me into what he thought I should be. And we became friends. That's who we are in on this path. Spiritual family and friends. It's just one big family. We're all just relatives until we realize we're really all the same. And there's only one of us, one loving awareness. Maybe you, or may you be one in that love. And there's some notes in the back about the chapters. Uh, some acknowledgments about the author and co-author. So Ram Dass, before becoming Ram Dass, he was Richard Alpert, son of the president of the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. Alpert was an up-and-coming professor of social relations at Harvard when he befriended a new faculty member named Timothy Leary. Leary had a transcendent experience with sacred mushrooms in Mexico, which he shared with Alpert. The two began a series of psychological research projects using substances that came to be known as psychedelics. In 1963, they were fired from Harvard for pushing the limits with psychedelic research. From Ivy Halls to duo, or from Ivy Halls, the duo went on to become counterculture icons, cresting the wave of the 60s. By 1966, Albert had taken psychedelic exploration as far as he could. He traveled to India looking for a map reader for the uncharted states of consciousness he had experienced. Through a seemingly fortuitous chain of events, he met a guru named Neem Karoli Baba called simply Maharaji, who knew. For 6 months, Albert lived a renunciate life in an ashram in the hills of the Himalayas. There he learned yoga and bhakti practice and the devotional path of the heart. Albert returned to America as Ram Dass, a name that means servant of God. Feeling that he had brought back a precious jewel, Ram Dass began to share his experiences in talks everywhere, and with young people who came to camp at his family summer home in New Hampshire. At a commune in the mountains of northern New Mexico, some of his talks were transcribed and transformed into a spiritual toolbox. It was published as a book in 1970. Be Here Now became a counterculture Bible for millions of seekers setting out on a spiritual path. Be Here Now resonated with a cultural moment in a way that few works have before or since. Ram Dass continued to travel and lecture about spiritual work. For 3 decades, his peripatetic life brought him in contact with thousands of individuals and to collaborations with other teachers like Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche during the first summer of Naropa University. Ram Dass authored more books and helped start service organizations such as a prison ashram project, a project to help people die more consciously, and the Seva Foundation, which aims to cure blindness and serve less fortunate people around the world. While in the middle of writing a book on conscious aging in 1997, titled Still Here, Ram Dass suffered a near-fatal stroke that left him in aphasia and paralysis on his right side. After a lengthy recovery through or though wheelchair bound, he resumed traveling and lecturing, albeit more slowly. In 2004, Ram Dass traveled once again to India to visit Maharaji's temple in the hills. When he returned to the States, he led a retreat on Maui, which ended with a trip to the emergency room due to a severe urinary and kidney infection. Once again, he nearly left his body. After the infection subsided, he settled on Maui. He no longer leaves Hawaii. Nowadays, he teaches via the internet on ramdas.org, leads retreats on Maui, and continues to write. Since he stopped traveling, Ram Dass dwells in a quiet heart space. His signature teaching of just being here now has led to a level of deep contentment, and his accommodation of his physical limitation is as profound as his earlier verbal wit and wisdom were entertaining. Just as when he was a psychedelic pioneer probing new boundaries of consciousness, Ram Dass remains a trailblazer, now plumbing our spiritual heart for unconditional love. Rameshwar Das. Rameshwar Das met Ram Dass at a college talk in 1967 and went on to learn yoga and meditations from him at his family farm in New Hampshire. From 1970 to 72, Ramesh traveled to India to see Neem Karoli Baba. He still visits regularly. Ramesh worked with Ram Dass on the 2010 book Be Love Now on Love Serve Remember recordings and on the original Toolbox project that became Be Here Now. He has also been a photographer, including a stint as a freelancer for the New York Times and other news publications. Ramesh's work spans a wide range of photojournalism, editorial, fine art, and commercial photography. He has taught photography and has also worked as an environmentalist and writer on coastal matters. He lives with his wife, a yoga teacher the end uh, on the east end of Long Island. Amazing. Okay. So that so looking at practical wisdom and integrating practice into sacred life. What is one simple practice that keeps your mirror clean? Um, so as we finish this chapter, I invite you to share what resonated with you today. How does this reading connect to your own practice or your work in the world? Please join the conversation in the comments below. And for more deep dives into these teachings, I encourage you to explore the archives at ramdas.org. Thank you for your presence. May we all love everyone, serve everyone, and remember God. Ram Ram. Thank you, everybody. My name is Angus Wright. I also go by Angus by design, and I'm a practitioner of lived experience. I'm dedicated to the path of Seva and heart-centered service, integrating modalities like wellness recovery action planning, emotional CPR, and personal medicine. So I walk alongside others as a peer, not as a pro, Their work is an invitation to move from roles to souls, polishing the mirror together to reflect the kindness and presence we all carry within. I practice Seva as a student of the Love, Serve, Remember Foundation, and I practice reciprocity with thanks for inclusion and accessibility to the Mighty Network space where our inner academy houses our collective contributions and connections to upholding the privacy of all and the principles of the teachings of Ram Dass and Neem Karoli Baba. Ram Ram.
In institutional religion. So that the game has a funny kind of top, a false top on it, because it's any institution that starts to have salaries and institutional structures and all that immediately can't self-destruct. It's not designed that way.